Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Viking Vitality. I am Coach Beth, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you like this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please share it with somebody. We're going to dive kind of deep today, so just roll with me. Make sure you have some time to really let this sink in, and then, of course, feel free to check out any of the other videos as well. And let's go ahead and dive right into it, shall we? So today we're talking about why do I keep failing, starting over, or never starting? Now, there is a lot to unpack here. I'm going to cover just kind of one topic today because there are many reasons and they're usually all connected to each other. Okay, so imagine that, you're you and you have somebody in your life that's very important to you. You value them a lot, friend, family member, whatever. Okay. And this person, though you love them and there's also somebody you have to be around a lot for whatever reason, like you're just in close proximity, there's no, oh, well, we're on separate sides of the world or whatever. Imagine that person, you guys have some plans together. You're going to go out finally. And, they've made all these promises to you. Yeah, we're going to go out and I'm going to buy you flowers, or we're going to do something or whatever, it's all this like, yeah, we're going to do this. I promise you this, da, da, da. And then they don't do that, and you would feel very hurt, disappointed, maybe betrayed. And then they come back and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I promise we'll do this, da, 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 da. And you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I imagine most of us, unfortunately, have had someone in our life like this, and that's their own issue. It has nothing to do with us. But let's just focus on, okay, so that's happening. Now, in that situation, towards that person, you'd probably feel very upset, very betrayed, very distrusting of this person. You would not have a lot of trust. Eventually, when they start to promise you things, you might raise up a little hope, but deep down inside that they're a liar, unfortunately. And then that kind of happens again. So you wouldn't trust them. You wouldn't put much faith in them. And honestly, it would probably still hurt for them to keep up their promises and all that. So now that we're all in that space together, that's what happens when you tell yourself that you're going to do something and you don't do it. You are that person. You have now become that person who is lying to you. And a lot of people don't think of it this way. You don't get to kind of step aside or like, oh, I didn't do, da 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 da. And so now you have made all these promises to yourself. We'll dismiss anything that you've told anybody else you're going to do. We're not going to talk about outside people. We're just going to talk about inside right now. You've told yourself that you're going to get up at 4 and you're going to go to the gym. You're going to stick to that diet. You're going to prep the food. You're going to read the book. You're going to start this. You're going to do that. And this mistrust, this disappointment, this hurt is exactly what happens every time that you tell yourself that you're going to do something and you don't do it. Just complete lack of integrity, right? And integrity means doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. All right. And there's kind of a 2-part interesting bit to this that I don't know if I want to cover it now or not, but because I want to bring us back to the good part. But what happens, you keep doing this and you recognize this in yourself. You actually start to self-program. Like you expect yourself to fail. You expect yourself to never start. You expect yourself to start over. All right. Your brain will recognize patterns and it will actually kind of self-program itself. This is similar, not the same, but similar to addiction or habit dysfunction is a better way to say it. And it's just a programming. It becomes a habit. It becomes a ritual. It's just, yep, I'm going to fuck up. You might not say it at the time, but there's a balance in there where your brain expects it. So it pushes a little harder. And what's going on here is that there is a lack of discipline on your part, my part. I do this too. Not pointing fingers at anybody. All right, just to be clear. It's a lack of discipline. And not in discipline like we were a child and our parents scolded us and we were disciplined. No, a lack of self-control, a lack of pushing through something that's uncomfortable, because your brain, your mind, is going to fight you every step of the way. It is going to tell you all kinds of shit. I'm going to tell you right now, it still happens to me now. I'm doing intermittent fasting right now, and I'm like, man, my cutoff time is at this time, and I should really just eat because I got to wait X amount of hours to eat again. And no, I'm going to be fine. That's the reality. It's uncomfortable, and that's okay. You know, that our brains are doing this. It sucks, but it's okay. Our brains were programmed to protect us. Humans have been around for a very long time, and our brains and our bodies are still very programmed to those early days of like the initial caveman stage, things like that. Uncomfortable to the brain is the same as danger. All right. That's why people get, imposter syndrome, or you get really nervous when you're going to make a big decision because it's the end of the world, and it's not. And I know these feelings. I'm not judging anybody. I'm telling you from experience. I have learned, I have pulled from that. It's not the end of the world typically. All right. And we can get into that in a whole nother conversation. But so this is what happens. You become this person, this lack of integrity person who is lying to yourself because of a lack of discipline. All right. And now there comes in something here too. So let's come to this. A lack of discipline. So then you keep failing at it or whatever it is. And then you give yourself shit. Like you're really hard on yourself because you're just, like, oh man, I fucked up again. I knew I would do that. God, I suck. Or whatever it is that you're saying to yourself. And I'm going to tell you from experience that that does not help most people. Most people, that does not help. Occasionally, somebody will do that and they'll actually pull some power from it. But that's a whole nother video about how to use things as a tool. All right. So then you end up hating yourself. And that's kind of maybe what the title of this video should be, Why I Hate Myself. So what is needed is the discipline and the persistence and the integrity to get through the things that are uncomfortable, no matter how uncomfortable they are. And we can look at habits and stuff like that, to kind of address this. And not only do we need that discipline, but we need a balance of grace. Okay. Giving yourself grace, giving yourself not an out. That's not the same. Giving yourself, you know what? I fucked up. I didn't plan ahead, or I just didn't do it. And I am going to do better tomorrow. And you have to mean that. Okay. You have to mean it and you have to do it. Otherwise you're back on that hamster wheel again of self-shame, and then fucking up, and then teaching yourself that you're a piece of shit or whatever it is that you say to yourself. All right. So kind of let that sink in for a second. Think about how that works. Okay. So not disciplined, I'm letting myself fail. I hate myself. I can't give myself grace because I'm a horrible person. So do you see what happens here? So we need to dig into that discipline. We need to dig into that integrity and be kind to ourselves. Give ourselves grace. That is how you will stop doing this. You will start. You will keep going. Okay? And a little bit at a time. Don't try to upheaval your whole life. It usually doesn't work out. Occasionally, but sometimes we need small things. So start doing. We need discipline. So self-control. Notice this isn't willpower. All right. Willpower is something else. It can be used as part of this, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about discipline or self-control, and we need grace. And you're going to turn from this person into this person. We're kind of like, oh, okay, I feel a little better now. And eventually you're going to get to this person. You're going to be this freaking happy person with yourself that you exercise these qualities and did whatever it is that you were going to do, whether it's fitness related, food, exercise, starting meditation, starting reading, starting a hobby, starting being nicer to your spouse, starting being nicer to your kids, started doing whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful, guys. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, if there's anything else you want me to talk about. Like, subscribe, share this video. Thank you again so much for being here. This is the kind of content that we are going to kind of dive into on the channel. I don't have a specific plan going forward, but I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys about things that I have experienced, I have learned, and I have come out the other side or am working on coming out the other side. And some of these things are going to be a constant thing about coming to try to get out the other side. And that's just life, you know, and it's worth every fucking second of it, I assure you. So have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.